The Joe Rogan Experience.
Like my mind for like through this camp, through this fight, man, like I'm so happy for everything that I went through. Honestly, like there was nothing that was going to take away like my shine or my joy or my feeling of like being ready, being prepared. It was a battle with my mind, and every day I had to make a choice to like
Stay on
to
it.
just be better, to be
Yeah.
bigger, to be happy, to just to just like embrace everything. This was all like everything's just been about embracing the obstacles that come.
So the last time we talked was before the Pereira fight.
Yeah.
And it was a great fight.
Thank you.
You had some great success. It was a tough fight. And then what is it like after that fight? So you face the best in the world, and you know that you can hang with them. You lost the fight, but you didn't gain a ton of experience. You went 5 rounds with one of the greatest. And what is it like after that?
I'd say everything seems very different now. I have been, since the Pereira fight, I've been to, I'd say, more than 6 countries. And there's fans there. Everyone like knows who I am now. And that is something that was a shock to me. Especially coming off a loss and just knowing that like I gave my all in that fight, and that's I guess what the people wanted from me, to get that type of like acknowledgement, because I'd been in the UFC for so long. But that fight, I guess, really showed people like who I am, and I got to show the world who I am, and against a guy like Alex. So now I feel like I've at least kind of made my mark and been like, hey, I'm here,
Right.
And so people are now like, okay, Khalil, I know who this guy is. You can say the name, and now people kind of, they're familiar with who I am now. But the other thing that it showed me was that I now know who I am and what I'm capable of. I spent majority of that fight just soaking in the moment and just like, oh, I'm here. I was excited to be there. I gave everything I had, but then going back and watching it, I'm like, I saw a lot of the mistakes that I made.
What mistakes specifically?
The number one mistake that I think was made in that fight is that it was my first 5-rounder. And when I was going into the 4th, because I took a lot of damage in the end of the like middle to end of the 3rd, so I was up 1 and 2. The beginning of 3, I was starting to kind of. He started to kind of take over halfway through the round, and once he started hitting me, I was like, oh shit, he's established his range, and now I'm feeling it. So it wasn't necessarily like a cardio thing. It was just like I started taking damage, and everybody knows this guy hits hard. So I was taking the damage. I was rocked. I was dizzy going into the 4th in the break. I remember John Wood saying, all right, man, like you're doing great. 10 more minutes. Like you can do anything 10 minutes. Just stick in there. We got this. And because I wasn't familiar with the 5 rounds, I took 10 minutes as sell out. So in the 4th round, I came out like ready to, I wasn't thinking with the mindset of like, I'm up 2, he just took the 3rd, 4th round, I need to maybe relax, maybe
Pace
not,
yourself with the 5th.
not get hit,
Right.
Whatever. 4th round, I came out, I bit down, and I went to war. I think that's what lost me the fight, for me personally.
So you made a lot of adjustments in the Jamal Hill fight.
1,000%.
Yeah, you could see it. You could see, first of all, what a performance.
Thank you.
I mean, he dominated a world champion. Dominated him. It was
Thank
such
you.
a clear-cut victory. And it was a victory where a lot of people thought that you were going to struggle with him. And, you just really showed a level above the Pereira fight. And I think maybe part of it is what you're talking about, like choosing when to engage and when not to engage. Like there was moments in that fight where you were dominating the fight, but there's moments where he was coming after you. You just moved. He moved away from him. And I know it pissed him off, But it's like, hey, man, you were way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
You were way ahead, and you were dominating the exchanges. Then when you chose to exchange with him, you were hurting him and dropping him. It was very impressive, man.
Thank you. And that was the product of, really reviewing mistakes. And
you also do some wild shit like standing hammer fists. Is that something you practice? Were you practicing
Absolutely,
that?
man.
That's a crazy
Absolutely,
move, man.
We're artists, I
Yeah.
think that's one thing that, I try my best to always embody the artist in mixed martial arts. I think it gets lost in the growth of the sport of MMA, But, from the past conversations we have and you understanding kind of how I was before, like, man, I need some type of outlet for creativity,
right.
And
that's what it is, standing hammer fist.
I mean, my mind, my essence is art. So I'm like, how can I, paint this picture of like expression of combat? You know what I mean? Like, there's so many different. We got Silat, we got Krav Maga, we got all these things, and it's like, let me paint. Like, what can I use to, to.
That's a bold thing to do, to use something very creative like that on a world champion, too. Jamal Hill's a dangerous guy.
Yeah, he's dangerous, man.
You hit him with standing hammer fist.
Yeah, I'm dangerous too, Like, I try to,
sure.
I try to, like, I always try to insert myself into these things too, because I think about it. Yeah, Alex, fucking hard hitter, dangerous guy, and I have to, like, yeah, so am I. Let's do it, Alex or Jamal, same thing. Like, I know he's got one punch power, all these things. I'm like, let me insert myself. Let me take some chances. Let me be bold. I think that's. I think
there's an advantage that you have also as a lighter guy in that division, is that you move quicker, and that was kind of evident in that fight. That you're like, there's a range of light heavyweights, and you're on the smaller range. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of guys like Drickus, who's bigger than you, who's the middleweight champion. Yeah. He's fucking huge, man. Yeah. It's the opposite thing, right? He's cutting a ton of weight. I don't know what he cuts, but every time I interview him, I'm like, how? Yeah. How the fuck are you 185 pounds? You're enormous. He looks like a heavyweight. Yeah. And he is a heavyweight when he fights. I mean, he's over 205 for sure.
Yeah, these guys, they blow up.
And you don't. And I think because of that, you have this you have speed, and not just speed of the strikes, but the way you move in and out. It's like when you close the distance on Jamal, you could see it was like there were some moments where I think he was surprised by the speed in which you were able to close the distance.
Yeah, I think so as well. There were some reactions in there that I was picking up on. I could see a bit of frustration. I feel like I was able to read a lot of the things before they would come. And, I heard everything that his coaches were saying. And in my mind, I was just seeing him struggle with, like, not being able to react the way he wanted. And maybe that was because, there was the speed that they weren't necessarily dealing with.
The speed and also the leg kicks. You fucked him up early with leg kicks.
Yeah.
And it really had a significant effect when you see him switching stances, and he doesn't like to stand orthodox. You saw a lot of changes.
Yeah, he did. I can say that, there were some improvements made. I think that he probably spent some more time working on his footwork. He was a lot less flat-footed than he usually is. I could tell that, like, a lot of the times his toes were pointed at me, and that wasn't what I studied. You know what I mean? Like,
so he'd made some changes. He landed some very good leg kicks, specifically in the first round.
Yeah, thank you. I always do my best to, try to channel my Muay Thai, and
you do. You're like one of the few. Like, I remember we talked about the Eric Anders fight. Like, when you came back from Thailand the first time, you were fighting like a Thai. And me and DC were having a blast with it. We're like, look at this, like, light on the front foot. It was a, like, totally different approach.
Yeah.
But he landed some very good leg kicks in the first round too. It was a good exchange, but yours were doing a lot more damage.
Yeah, he started off with the leg kicks. Like, I think he threw maybe 3 or 4 calf kicks before I actually started answering back. He started it, and I was just like, okay, cool. If this is the game we're playing, like, I love this game, like, I love this game. So, Yeah, it was a great fight, man.
Why did you start the beginning of the fight like with your hands down, just like walking towards him?
Because that's how I felt, Joe. I mean, like, I feel like in that fight, so there was not necessarily like beef between Jamal and I. Like, we never really exchanged, there wasn't any like heated discussions or anything. But we all have phones, we all have social media, we all, I get Google alerts and stuff anytime I'm mentioned. And so like I've seen things that were said and I'm just like, okay, whatever. I don't agree with it and I don't, whatever. If this guy looks at me as however, that's just his opinion.
What was he saying? Like, what was it?
It just like, I think it were like things again about like the Alex fight or just saying that like he's going to outskill me or, I don't belong in the division. Just, things like that. Like,
level.
don't take my exact word for it, but
Right.
that's kind of how, like, that's the stuff that I kind of saw. So for me, there was no real reason to show any like respect. If we're in the same building, if we're in the same room, I just like, whatever. I wanted to just kind of block him out. And then during the weigh-ins, so I had a press conference, and they were saying like, "Hey, in the Alex fight, there was a lot of blood. You got cut up. Da 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 da. Can we expect the same thing from you in this fight?" And I said, "No, there's not going to be any blood on my face. How you're interviewing me now is how you're going to interview me after the fight. I'm going to look the same." He didn't like that. I didn't say his name, but he didn't like that. And so at the weigh-ins, he come like. And mind you, we had 3 days before the weigh-ins, and we'd seen each other in the hotel room and blah, 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 or in the hotel, There were many more opportunities for him to say what he said, but he chose to do it at the weigh-ins in front of Dana White. And I thought that was like, come on.
What did he say?
He said, "Oh, you're going to bleed. You're going to bleed. You better believe that. You're going to bleed." Like, in my face, like, "Oh, I'm going to make you bleed." And I was just like, okay, like, sure. Like, that was just really, like, internally, like, I'm like, okay, sure. Yeah, whatever. And
Why did you think that you wouldn't get cut? Like, what made you think?
I knew how I've been training and what I'm prepared for, and I know the type of athlete and fighter and man that I am, and I just knew that it wasn't going to happen. I was just that confident in my abilities and the work that I put in that I just knew it wasn't going to happen.
It's pretty wild also considering you're coming off of a loss. Like, you had more confidence coming off of a loss.
100%, because the loss just showed me that there's more work to do. Like, people always say back to the drawing boards, and like, it was more than the drawing boards for me. It was like back to the dirt, back to the Vegas weather, back to the dying on the assault bike, back to challenging myself, back to going deeper. Who am I really? What am I really capable of? And like that was it. It was just like deep internal digging to get out and to discover what I'm made of. And so in that comes confidence. In that comes like I know what I'm capable of and I know what I can do. And so that's how I felt.
Wow.
And so that's why I walked out like that, because I was just like,
Because it's kind of wild. I was going, what is he doing?
But I was also prepared, like I didn't want to rush anything. Like nothing needed to be rushed. Like the cage is closed and we got 25 minutes. Why am I going to run out,
Right.
No, like I walk here. I know that you're not going to do anything. I wasn't threatened. Like that statement in my face didn't like, I was just like, God, here we go again. You know what I mean? Like another guy that wants to like get in my face. Like, yeah. And I did the job that needed to be done.
This is a very measured performance. And some people didn't like that. Some people, the casuals, I think there's casuals that
They wanted to see blood.
they just want to see chaos. They don't care about your health.
They don't care about me at
right.
the age of 50 with, you know what I mean? When this is all over and I want my knees and my hands and my fingers and everything to work.
Yeah.
And I want to be able to speak sentences and go through the airport on both my feet and not in a wheelchair. They don't care about that.
No.
And that's okay.